Dear students, welcome to 10th class biology. So we were discussing about reproduction in plants and animals. So last class we already covered pollination. What is pollination? Transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of a flower, that is called pollination. And we study different types of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination. Okay. So in case of self-pollination, there is no need of agents. Flowers, those flowers perform self-pollination. They are not dependent on the external agents for pollination. But in case of cross-pollination, the flowers, they depend on the external agents. Okay. So what are the agents which help in cross-pollination? They are wind, water, insects and animals. Okay, and these agents, they helps in cross pollination. Okay, so first of all we are going to discuss pollination by wind. Okay, so those flowers, they perform cross pollination with the help of wind is called anemophilous flowers. Those cross pollination is called anemophily. So what is anemophily? The cross pollination by the help of wind is called anemophily, and those flowers are called anemophilous flowers. Okay, so if you observe these anemophilous flowers, you can identify important features about their flower. First of all, their pollen grains. Okay, and their pollen grains, they are very small, and they are very dry and smooth, and they are lightweight because wind, they take these pollen grains from one flower to another flower. Okay, so their weight should be in lightweight. They should have lightweight, and they should be very small and dry and smooth. Okay, and these pollen grains, they can travel around 1,000 kilometers by with the help of this wind. Okay, and what about their stigma? If you observe their stigma of these anemophilous flowers, the stigma comparatively very large, and it is something like protruding and with a hairy appearance, their stigma. So in grasses, rice, wheat and also other grasses, if you observe, you can see they are anemophilous flowers. Their pollen grains are very small, and their stigma something like hairy and very large. Okay, and also cacti also you can see this type of pollination, that is anemophilous pollination, anemophily. So anemophily, what is it? The cross pollination with help of wind is called anemophily. And pollen grains, important features about anemophilous pollen grains. Flowers pollen grains are very small, and they are dry and they are smooth and they are light in weight. What about stigma, they are very comparatively large, and they are protruding and they are hairy. Okay, see this picture, then you can understand very easily. So next agent for which help in cross pollination, that is insects. Okay, so insects like honeybees, you already know honeybees and flies, which helps in cross pollination. Those types of cross pollination, it is called endomophily. So what is endomophily? The cross pollination with the help of insects is called endomophily. So the flowers are called, those perform endomophily is called endomophilous flowers. So if you observe these endomophilous flowers, they are such like brightly colored, and they are so attractive because they have to attract insects for performing cross pollination. So they are very attractive, and they have a good smell, and also they have nectar. Okay, all these facilities for attracting insects. Brightly colored flowers are brightly colored, and they have good smell and nectar. And if you observe their pollen grains, which is something like large, and their pollen grains exine, it is something look like spiny. Okay, this pollen grain, their outer layer, which is exine, which is something like spiny and pitted. Okay, and what is the reason behind it? Because this spiny appearance of exine on the pollen grain, which helps in stick on the stigma very well. Okay, Then what about if you observe this cross pollination done by insects, the 80 percentage of cross pollination done by insects by honeybees. Okay, they give more major share. So 80 percentage of cross pollination done by insects by the contribution of honeybees. So honeybees are very important. Okay, if their number reduces, it will affect our entire world also. The cross pollination with the help of water is known as hydrophily. Okay, so were these hydrophily observed? Obviously, the answer is in aquatic plants. You can see hydrophily in aquatic plants. Okay, so these plants, aquatic plants, they produce so many pollen grains, and these pollen grains they float on the surface of the water, and finally they stick on the stigma of the female. They land on the stigma of the female flower. Okay, so that type of pollination is called hydrophily. And same case in anemophily also. Those flowers, that anemophilous flowers also, they produce so many pollen grains, and here hydrophily also, these flowers they produces so many pollen grains. Okay, so the plants like hydrilla and Vallisneria, they perform hydrophily. So clear? So this, see this picture. Cross pollination takes place with the help of animals is called zoophily. Okay, so the word related to animals. So you can easily remember what is zoophily. It is a cross pollination takes place with the help of animals. So the flowers of this zoophily, you can see their flowers are bright in color, and they have large size, and also they have a nice smell. So this scent and size and bright color of flower attract these animals. So because of this, they perform cross pollination. Okay, animals involved in this cross pollination. For example, sunbird, which pollinate the flowers of the plants, canna and gladioli, and also squirrels, which pollinate the flowers of silk cotton tree. So these are about zoophily. So we already completed the pollination done by pollination by the help of bee. It is called anemophily, and pollination with the help of insects called entomophily, and pollination with the help of water is called hydrophily, and pollination with the help of animals is called zoophily. Okay. So next we are going to look on the fertilization. So we already completed that. We already said that sexual reproduction in plant takes place by two processes. First one is pollination, and second one is fertilization. So pollination part we already discussed. So next one, fertilization. So what is fertilization? Fertilization means fusion of male gamete otherwise called sperm, and female gamete or egg. Fusion of male gamete sperm and female gamete egg is called fertilization. Okay, so before going to discuss fertilization, I will review again this structure of this carpel, that is female part of the flower. They have stigma, and they have a long tube like structure style, and they have ovary. Inside this ovary, ovule present, and ovule they have uh, two integuments, outer and inner integuments, and they have nucellus. Inside this nucellus they have embryo sac. In this embryo sac there are 7 cells and 80 nucleus. Those cells present at the cell end, they are called antipodal cells. Those are present at the micropylla, and they are called egg apparatus. In this egg apparatus there are 2 synergids and 1 egg cell. At the center of the embryo sac there are 2 polar nuclei or secondary nuclei present, and this ovule, which is connected with the ovary wall by a stalk called funicle, and the 2 integuments leave a opening on this ovule, which is called micropyle. Okay, and we already studied the structure of the pollen grain. Pollen grain, they have something like spherical shape, and they have outer wall called outer layer called exine and inner layer called indine, and they have two cells. One cell is called generative cell and other cell is called vegetative cell. So generative cell, this is generative cell and this is vegetative cell. Okay, and this vegetative cell on this wall of this exine there is a pore. That pore is called germ pore. Okay, so these things you already know. So let's look what is happening during the time of fertilization. After pollination, these pollen grains, they land on the stigma of the flower. What happens? Pollen grains, they land on the stigma of the flower. Okay, that is the first step. Then what happens? These pollen grains, they develop a pollen tube through this germ pore. They develop pollen tube, this germ pore. So all the contents present inside this pollen grain which go into this pollen tube. So the generative cell and vegetative cell, they go into this pollen tube. So this pollen grain, they develop pollen tube, and this pollen tube which enlarges, okay, which grows and which pass through style, and they finally pass through ovary, and they reach near micropylar end of this uh, ovule. So this is the pollen tube which pass style of this carpel, and they pass ovary wall, and they reaches near the micropylar end of ovule. And in this pollen tube, you already said generative cell and vegetative cells are there, but this vegetative cell degenerates, and generative cell which divides into two male gametes, or two sperms. So what is actually present inside this pollen tube? Two male gametes. Okay, there are two male gametes are here in this pollen tube, male gametes or sperms. Two male gametes. Okay, so this pollen tube with the two male gametes, they burst the ovule at the micropylar end, and they enter through this nucellus, and they finally reaches into this embryo sac. The tip of this pollen tube which bursts into this ovule and which releases two male gametes or two sperms into this embryo sac. So till now what we have discussed, first of all the pollen land on the stigma, and this pollen which forms pollen tube, and inside this pollen tube generative cell which divides into two male gametes, and this pollen tube tip which bursts into this ovule and which releases two sperms or two male gametes into this embryo sac. Okay, inside this embryo sac, one of the male gamete or one sperm which fuse with egg, okay, that is called syngamy. Fusion of male gamete and egg, or fusion of sperm and egg, is called syngamy. They form zygote, and which divides finally form embryo. Then another sperm which fuse with, or other male gamete which fuse with, at the center, you know, at the center of this embryo sac, polar nuclei, two polar nuclei or two secondary nuclei present. Okay, so one of these sperm fuse with this secondary nuclei, two secondary nuclei, and they form primary endosperm. So one sperm fused with two secondary nuclei or two polar nuclei, they form primary endosperm. So it is called triple fusion. Triple fusion. Why it is called triple fusion? Here two secondary nuclei and one sperm, they fuse. So it is called triple fusion, which result in primary endosperm. Then another male gamete or other sperm which fuse with egg, okay, that is called syngamy, and they develop into zygote and zygote divide and develop into embryo. So these are about fertilization. So you can see two types of fusion of gametes here. One is syngamy, another one is triple fusion. So it is called double fertilization. Double fertilization. Why it is called double fertilization? One sperm fused with the egg, that is called syngamy, and another sperm fused with the two secondary nuclei, that is called triple fusion, which result in primary endosperm. So there are two types of fertilization present in flowering plants. So it is called double fertilization. Okay. Then this primary endosperm, the primary endosperm nucleus divides and form endosperm. Endosperm which act as food material for the developing embryo. Okay, so the developing embryo take the nutrient content from this endosperm. Then finally what happens? The antipodal cells and also synergids present in this embryo sac also disintegrates. Antipodal cells and synergids disintegrates. Okay. Then the ovule which become seed. Then the integuments of this ovule become seed coat. Integuments become seed coat. And finally the entire ovary become fruit. Ovary become. Okay. So because of fertilization, the ovule become seed and the seed coat, what is that? Actually the integuments of ovule become seed coat and ovary become fruit, and the new characters are expressed in this new developing embryo. Okay, so these are about fertilization.